What's up, guys? It's your boy Stevie the Black. That's STEVEE the Black. I'm here. So WrestleMania week on YouTube hasn't gone exactly as planned. I had some things to do today and yesterday on Monday. I didn't do a video because I had to work, and by the time I got home, I was beat, man. But I'm here today, right now, and I'm ready to give you the video for yesterday, which is the top 10 worst WrestleManias. Now, obviously, the last time I saw it, I gave you my top 10 WrestleManias that were the best of all time. Now I'm giving you the worst because all 31 have not been the best. They have not. So, how this is going to work is basically the whole show was basically bad except for like one match. So I'll tell you what that one match was, and we'll go from there. All right. So starting in at number 10, we have WrestleMania 13. Why was this match so bad? Just because it just had a lot of bad matches, obviously. But what was the main event of that pay-per-view? It was Sid versus The Undertaker. Now, obviously, Undertaker wasn't as good as a wrestler as he is right now, and a streak did not exist at that time. Well, technically it did, but no one didn't really notice that every single match he had been in at that point, he had won. So, what was the match at WrestleMania 13? You tell me, when you think of WrestleMania 13, what is the match you think about? Well, pretty much everyone in the world thinks about not Hulk Hogan, but Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Bret Hart in a no disqualification submission match where Steve Austin and Bret Hart put on arguably the best match of the night, fighting back and forth. Obviously, you know the story. Austin was beaten, broken, and bleeding, and Bret Hart put him in the sharpshooter, and Austin passed out. He would not quit, and because of that, the fans cheered for him. And if not the best at all, the double turn with Bret Hart, who came in as a face, left as the heel because he got mad that Austin didn't quit and was beating him down and everything like that. And, you know, Austin got away from him and I think stunned him or whatever like that. But Austin, because of this, became the face of the company pretty much. And the Austin era, even though it had begun a year later at WrestleMania, technically begun right there. So, WrestleMania 29 is the ninth worst WrestleMania. Why? You know what? There were a few good matches on there. For me personally, obviously, Taker versus CM Punk was the best match on the card. It was that this was CM Punk's last WrestleMania. Not only that, but he felt like he deserved to be in the main event. And, you know, arguably you can't disagree with that. And, the other great match, at least to me, was Brock Lesnar and Triple H. I felt that match was pretty good. I know for some reason a lot of people didn't want that match. I don't know why, but I thought it was good. And the fact that Shawn Michaels was invested in it, I think, helped it a little bit better too. Obviously the main event was The Rock versus John Cena 2. And we're like, last year you called it once in a lifetime, as if these two are never going to face again. But, you know, obviously we all know the plan was for The Rock to cost Cena the match title at WrestleMania 27, for Rock to beat Cena at WrestleMania 28, and then for Cena to beat Rock at 29. That match was not as good as the first one, number one, and that may just be because The Rock got hurt, but that match was not as good as the first one. If CM Punk was going to be in the main event, it either should have been Taker versus Punk, or it should have been at least Punk in the triple threat, because I think that would have been a little bit more entertaining. But you know what? It doesn't matter. It is what it is. Obviously, you had the bad matches, like Swagger versus Del Rio, like The Shield versus Big Show, Sheamus, and Orton, and you had Mark Henry versus Ryback. That match was bad. So, on to the 8th worst WrestleMania in history, and we have WrestleMania 15. That match was the worst Hell in a Cell match for The Undertaker at WrestleMania. He's going to his third now at WrestleMania, but it was a bad Hell in a Cell match between him and Big Boss Man. That match was bad. The match between not Rocky, I believe it was Shane had a match here. I believe that wasn't good. It was him and X Pac or something for a European Championship. But I know Shane won, but the match was bad. Obviously the best match was the main event, Austin versus Rock. Number one. Yep, number one. And no disqualification match. Vince didn't want Stone Cold to become the champ, but he did. Their mind was blown, and it was just awesome. It was incredible. But that was the only good thing about the card, because everything else pretty much sucked. Alright, so going on to WrestleMania 6. For the 7th worst WrestleMania, WrestleMania 6, as I just said. The best match of the night was Hulk Hogan versus the Ultimate Warrior. This was also the WrestleMania that was in Toronto, and was the WrestleMania that Edge had went to, where he was there and he was like, I'm going to become a WWE superstar, And you know what? It's funny because I'm going to my first WrestleMania, hopefully, next year, because WrestleMania is in Orlando, and I live where it's going to be at, about 30 minutes away from that. And if I can't go, that's a problem. And I will go. And, I'm only 19 now. By next year, I'll be turning 21. But, would it be too late if I wanted to? I'd probably have to start right now, though, if I really wanted to become a WWE superstar. Which, I'm not saying I don't want to, but, it was a dream. As a kid, it's always a dream. I want to become a WWE superstar, But obviously, the best match was Hogan and Warrior, of the passing of the torch, I guess you can say, because they were the two biggest faces at the time. This proved right here that you didn't just have to have a heel versus a face, but you could have a face versus face if the two were pretty much evenly matched. I would say Hogan was about here, and Warrior was about here. He was close, so if you want to use numbers, Hogan was a 10, Warrior was a 9. But by Hogan losing, and, I guess kind of not passing the torch, but Hogan losing, it was pretty good. Because, Hogan always won. Alright, WrestleMania 27. That WrestleMania, oh my god. That WrestleMania was pretty bad. I mean, we had Michael Cole versus Jerry Lawler. I mean, the only good thing about that was the fact that Stone Cold was the special guest referee. And then, you had The Miz versus John Cena in the main event. That match was pretty bad. The only good thing about it, and a lot of people don't acknowledge this, but Edge, even though it wasn't the best WrestleMania match he's ever had, it was his last, and I factor that in. We didn't obviously know it at the time, but I factor that in now because, that was the last time we got to see Edge wrestle, and, no better way to go out than winning your last match. Of course, most of the time people lose their last match, but even though Edge had to retire because of injury, but again, it was his last match, so that's the reason why WrestleMania was good. Obviously, the best match of the night was Undertaker versus Triple H, and their no-holds-barred match for the streak. By this point, the streak was the real reason anyone watched WrestleMania, because the WWE title at 2 consecutive years, matter of fact 3, no one really cared. Triple H versus Randy Orton, we didn't care. It could have been better, to be quite honest, but the fact that Undertaker and Shawn Michaels was pretty good, and the fact that John Cena, Edge, and Big Show was just okay. By the time they had main event came around, no one just didn't care. They're like, phew, I'm ready to go home. It's like you just ate a full course meal and you had dessert and everything. You're like, phew, I'm ready for a nap, That's what it was like. No one cared about the WWE title match there. No one didn't care about Batista versus Cena. And no one didn't care about Cena versus The Miz. But Miz got his dream. Of course, he likes to bring it up every now and then, but that was 5 years ago. Alright, so the 5th worst WrestleMania, WrestleMania 11. And the main event, this is the problem. Obviously, the pay-per-view was bad. But the problem right here is the best match did not even involve 2 WWE superstars. It involved 1 WWE superstar and an NFL star in Lawrence Taylor. And the match was pretty good. It was pretty good. And no one expected a football player to be that good. But the fact that he was pretty good. And the guys, and WWE were doing this for mainstream attraction, which, a lot of people rubbed it the wrong way as saying, oh, he had an NFL player come in and main event his WrestleMania, his thing, like, you don't have enough talented people to do it yourself, by WrestleMania 11, Hogan was gone. So, it's not like he could have did it. Bret Hart, I don't know if he was there at the time. I think he was, but still, it wouldn't have been enough. I believe Shawn Michaels, Vince didn't trust him yet at that time. So, but it wouldn't be till next year when it was WrestleMania 12 when obviously Shawn had his moment and became champion. Let's see here. Alright, so we got, I could have sworn I had that match on here. I guess I didn't. Alright, so WrestleMania 4, we know that was the WrestleMania for the vacant WWE tournament, for the vacant WWE title, and they had a 16-man tournament, and, that felt longed out and dragged. The only good thing about it was the fact that it was a surprise element, because we didn't know number one who was going to be the main event. And then when we found out who it was, we were happy that Macho Man Randy Savage won, because obviously he deserved it. And obviously I remember that's when kind of the Mega Powers brother was formed, because they worked together. Hogan helped Savage win. But yeah, so let's just move on to the next one. Sorry if I sound kind of like drained, like, what's wrong, bro? You okay? Like, it's fine. Let's just continue. All right, so the final three of bad WrestleManias. You're gonna it was a tough decision, but I had to, the crazy thing was I had to mix all of them up, because when I saw them out of order, I was like, whoa, that doesn't seem right. But the worst WrestleMania, number 3, is WrestleMania 1. Now, I know what you're thinking. How was WrestleMania 1 bad? It's the reason why WWE is successful today. Because it worked. Yes, entertainment-wise, it worked. Mainstream attraction-wise, it worked. It got the WWE where they wanted to go. It got WWE, non-wrestling fans into wrestling. But it was the actual wrestling itself. Remember, wrestling's in the name WrestleMania, so obviously the wrestling part is important. And the fact that the wrestling sucked was pretty bad. I mean, I don't even know these people I'm about to name as the best match. I mean, I know the Iron Sheik, but that's it. I don't know who Nick Volkoff is, or Barry Windham, or Mike Rotundo are, but apparently they had the best match of the night. I'm never going to watch the early WrestleManias because they all sucked, to be quite honest with you. And I can't stand to watch old things. The latest WrestleMania I will probably watch is WrestleMania 20, because that's right around the time I started watching it. And don't get me wrong, I love history and I love the WWE, but I just can't stand watching old things, So, just doesn't get me. So, WrestleMania 9, what was the best match of that night? There was no best match. And you're probably thinking, well, how could that have been... How come that's not the worst WrestleMania? Well, because I'm going to get to that, which leads me into my number 1, which was WrestleMania 2. So again, we had the celebrities. We had a boxing match at WrestleMania 2 between Roddy Piper and, what was his name? Roddy Piper and Mr. T. And that was like, first of all, a couple years later, you had the NFL player there. That didn't work out. So if that didn't work out, earlier years WrestleMania, you had a boxing match that didn't work. So why would you try an NFL player? I mean, people love the NFL and people love boxing. I mean, by that time, this is the 80s, so we've already seen Rocky, and, we had Muhammad Ali and, Mike Tyson later on, but those things, they just do not mix together. They really don't. Excuse me. And the best match of the night was Hogan versus Bundy in a steel cage match. It was really Hogan's first true Hulkamania versus Monster type of match kind of thing. But other than that, the whole card sucked, obviously, because we're on the worst. I sound like a broken record on this one, but, this one wasn't too interesting, and that's why I sound kind of, like, oh, I just want this video to be over. I just don't feel like doing this. This one was kind of boring. It didn't have no excitement. I mean, yeah, he had the best matches of the night, but there were one or two of them because the whole card sucked. So this is WrestleMania week. That was the top 10 worst WrestleManias. Come back tomorrow for we have day 3 of day 4 of WrestleMania week. So remember, if you're not down with that, I've just got 2 words for you. Peace out.